This guy's not a happy camper. Man, first time. It's like, man, I like being on them. That's a nice, probably a 15-incher, maybe more. Let's see. Hi everybody, welcome back to Fishing with West. I'm your host Jason West. I just wanted to go over something that I got asked a couple months ago, which was how to fish a drop shot without electronics. And I want to go into that in detail. Obviously I've got electronics on my kayak now. Sometimes that still doesn't play much of a factor though when I'm looking for places to fish drop shot. 9 times out of 10, you've got two trains of thought. When you're going out fishing during the summer, you're looking for laydowns, you're looking for horizontal targets, right? Horizontal structure. You've got laydown trees, you've got docks, maybe, stuff like that, secondary points coming out. So you're looking at that kind of stuff, maybe a brush pile laying down, whatever. Well, and the brush piles is a twofold, and I'll get into that in a second. But the main thing is that if, say those aren't working out, say I'm throwing a shaky head and it's just not working for me over there, and I just realized fish aren't there. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look around the lake and I'm going to look for something that's usually man-made. Bridge pylons, any kind of pylons, posts coming out of the water. What's another thing I'm thinking of that I can't think off the top of my head, like markers, buoys, stuff like that. You're going to look for those types of structures, and when you get to them, you're just going to fish them vertically. I mean, you're going to go up to them, get your rod, go straight up to it, flip the bail, drop it straight down, and you want it to be right up on the edge of that. So if you can get that bait to fall hitting that structure all the way down, that's what you want to do. And 9 times out of 10, I mean, you're just going to sit there, you're going to let that bait kind of go up and down, you're just going to kind of jiggle the rod. That's all you're doing. You're not reeling, you're not doing anything, you're just kind of jiggling the rod, and what you're doing is you're allowing that hook or that weight to sit on the bottom, and you're giving it slack so that your lure or your bait is just going to jiggle and move around, and it's going to look more like kind of like a suspending minnow or a suspending baitfish. And when that happens, 9 times out of 10, those fish will come, especially in like clear reservoirs and stuff like that. Usually it's happened 15 to 25 feet of water is what my sweet spot's been this year. But that's one way of fishing the drop shot. So the other way I want to get into the drop shot, or the other way of fishing the drop shot, and this is kind of where the brush pile comes in that I mentioned earlier. When you're fishing and you can't, those man-made structures aren't working, but you do notice that they kind of, maybe they're following the bait, they're just not hitting it. You can take that lure or that drop shot set up, you've got the weight, you've got about 12 inches of space, and then you've got, like, I use one-aught hook, one-aught drop shot hook, something like that, and I will tie that on. And then on those hook, usually my go-to is a rover worm, which, go figure, everyone uses a rover worm. Aaron Martin's Morning Dawn. That's who came up with that color. But anyway, so I'll have that nose hook. Now keep in mind, this is not a weedless setup. You're not going to cast into deep trees and just reel it right on out. That's not the way this is going to work. But what you can do is you can cast up on banks and you can work that rod. So in that case, instead of my rod being kind of almost horizontal and me just kind of working it that way, or just kind of twitching up and down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it. So I'm just going to drag it along the bottom of the ground, and then I might twitch it a couple times while I'm dragging it. I'll let it sit there, and then I'll reel up the slack as I'm bringing that rod down. So the slack stays the same, stays constant the entire time. Once I get there, I'm gonna sit there for a minute, twitch it some more, let it sit, reel up that slack as I go down, and then I'm gonna twitch it. What you're doing is, it's not gonna be vertical, it's gonna be more like diagonal, and you're gonna have the weight here, and you're gonna have the bait here. And what's gonna happen is that bait's still gonna be twitching, it's gonna be moving along. And that technique can be deadly as well, and it helps as well to find those fish. If they're suspended, if they're finicky, whatever it is, that method will work out a lot as well, especially if you don't have electronics, because I can go there, say they're not on the stereotypical pylon or structure. I can go off to the bank, I can start fishing banks and realize, hey, they're not hitting that bank, but as I got further out, there's a drop off and they're hitting there. And that's where I know, okay, now I'm just gonna start specifically targeting that one area in that drop off. I don't have to make the 25-foot cast. I can make 10-foot cast to where that drop off is, and that's what I can target. So that's what I do when I'm fishing drop shotting during the summertime, especially wintertime. It might change a little bit, but we'll see. So hope this helps. Hope this answers some of you guys' questions. Another thing, obviously when you're drop shotting, you want kind of a light setup. I typically prefer to go for like a medium extra fast rod or spinning rod, or I go for like a medium light rod. And then my reel, I'll go with like a 6-pound test, which is what I'm using here. And the drag is set up really pretty loose. Don't need very tight drag on that, because you want that fish to run. And when you set that hook, you're just gonna reel down and pull up. You're not gonna jerk on it. It'll lip that fish almost perfectly every time it'll hook that fish. So just something to keep in mind. But I'm gonna show you some clips, and I hope you enjoy this. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you gained some knowledge from this. If you guys have any other questions or any suggestions on future videos, please let me know. I'll be happy to make them for you. Please like and please subscribe, and take care. Thanks. Never give up. Woo, that's 3. That one was fighting. That's a fish. That's 100% a fish. That might be a good one too. Come on, fishy. Perfectly hooked too. There's 4, even though it's 3. Ow. Stop it. Perfectly hooked. Look at that. It's like an 8-incher. This is embarrassing. Oh, I feel like I barely got you hooked. Okay, that probably helped out. Oh, you're fighting good. Don't jump. Man. This one does not want to come up. Look at you.
Where are you going? Oh, you're a nice spot. Don't go into the boat. That is a nice spot. I don't know what is in your mouth. I don't know what I'm grabbing. You have been jacked up. Sorry, this is confusing. I just caught a fish, and of course my battery died. So, here we go. Take this guy off. Fought great. This is probably 17 or 18 inch spotted bass. I am going to get a picture of it first because with my luck today, everything has been jumping off the boards. So this is really fish number 5, but I lost my 5th fish.